Okay, boom. Section 10 bonus pod. It's Lou Merloni. It's Will Flemming. And I don't even want to call this a therapy pod because it's not. This is not a therapy pod. This is a meeting of the minds to get everyone to calm the fuck down for a second, compose our thoughts. Like, I feel like Will Ferrell in Old School in the locker room. We just need to get our composure. Like, we just need to get our shit together and get back out there. Like, that's where we're at this point in the offseason. So I know you guys are chronically online, as am I. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting really fucking annoyed at where the fan base is at. Perfect example today. Like, I like the Oviedo trade. I like it a lot. But I can't say that I like it because now everyone's going to be like, well, fuck you. Where's Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber? Right. And those are separate things. I can sit here and say I like the Oviedo trade, and then we can have a separate conversation about not signing Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso over here. Those are two different things. So I'm just a little annoyed that if you are not nuclear, red hot, pissed off, hate everything there is about the Boston Red Sox right now, then you're one of them. You're paid off by them. You work for the fucking team. And that's why I'm like, no, dude, I like the Oviedo trade. Fucking kill me. But I want to know where you guys are at in terms of what patience you have remaining. Because I still have some, not all, that I started the offseason with. And where are we at? Just a general check-in right now.
Go ahead, Will.
Well, I'm in the woods. You can see I'm fleeing the Twitter mob right now. I've gotten away from all that stuff. This has been a week where you learn a lot about, I think, sort of the overall mindset of the Red Sox fan base. And man, it is not great right now. I am still like you. I'm patient. I'm willing to give leeway. I think what this overreaction from everybody over one player proves is that there still is a huge undercurrent of mistrust with whether or not they're going to do the right things. And they made big strides last year. All the moves were hits. It is. They get credit for that. But until we see the big free agent splash, in my opinion, that is most of what's driving the fan base anger. Whether right, whether wrong, we can get into that debate too. I mean, Craig may be right about some of these aging, long-term, big dollar deals. That remains to be seen. He still obviously needs to prove it otherwise and bring in pieces that can fill in for Alonso or anybody else like that. But I just think that it just underscores the fact we got a starving fan base who wants activity. They want action. But my main reaction in the last 72 hours is, would I have wanted Pete Alonso? Would Lou have wanted him? Of course. He'd make all of our lives more fun. It seems to me to be a perfect fit. But by not getting him, you would think, based on the reaction of our fan base, why just don't even play the season. Cancel the games, get over it. There's no point to any of it. I'm willing to wait on that. There need to be moves. We know that, but I'm willing to give a long leash while there's still some big fish out there in the sea.
So you guys are both in relationships. You know, do you ever do something really, really stupid and your significant other is just so pissed off at you that really no matter what you say, it's not going to help, so you just go silent?
Mm-hmm. Every day.
That's where I was Wednesday leaving Orlando when I looked at Twitter in the Uber and I got to the airport and I'm like, I'm just going to jump on my flight. I'm going to watch a little Netflix because there was nothing you could say. It was like, who could show they're the maddest? Like, that's kind of the reaction that I saw. And then you calm down, you wake up the next day. I was pissed too. I wanted Pete Alonso. I thought he was a good fit, but he's not, as I've heard people say, the perfect, player for this team. Like, he adds pop. You want pop. He's instant. He and Schwarber. But this team needs to make contact. They need to play defense. And this thought that, and we've actually heard people say it was Alonso, Schwarber, or bust. And it's like, I don't even know what the hell that means. Like, we missed out on 2 DHs, so we should shut down camp. Like, but it does go to what Will said. It's I'm not losing too much sleep over. I just don't trust them. I just don't trust where this is going to go. And it kind of just goes back to, you had 4 years basically of like a rebuild where you said you were going to do some things and you never really did them and you've lost a lot of trust there. But now you're at a point where you should be building. You should be signing these guys. You should be into these guys because of the core you have. But it really comes down to trust.
And I guess now's the perfect time, I guess, to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit here. but I was talking to Lou about this before we got Will in the woods. And, I think there's layers to this. There's layers to the fan anger and disappointment. And then there's layers to mine. And what I mean by that is, publicly we hear we want to add 2 bats. And then it's like, well, Bregman and a bat. Bregman's not here yet. And no, they didn't name any names, but like behind closed doors, they're naming names. And like Alonso's name came up a lot and Schwarber's name came up a lot. So that's where I sit here and say, I do still have patience remaining, but when there are some fans out there that are like, well, we got to wait it out, like maybe that like this wasn't their plan. Maybe they weren't interested all along. They didn't even offer Schwarber. It's like, okay, they didn't offer Schwarber a contract, but people in there, they wanted Kyle Schwarber. Like we were talking about big bats. Who the fuck else do you think that they were talking about? Like those are the 2 bats. Naylor went back to Seattle almost immediately, and I wouldn't put him in the same tier as a Schwarber or Alonso anyway. So. Like Coley has been saying for months now, he's like, I think the big bat comes via trade. And for me, like Ketel Marte, great player. Like I would be ecstatic if that happened. And we'll get to Marte in a minute. But those were the 2 guys. And like I know that you, Lou, you were putting Alonso in the DH market. He can fucking stand over there and play first. But look at what we've had since 2019. We just have these big ogres that fucking stand over there, and that's it. That's what they do. It's good enough to be a first baseman for the Red Sox.
I agree with that. But, I had one thing that was sort of stuck in my head because I wanted Pete Alonso. I mean, guy was my avatar. I'm just over with my avatars. I never get anybody I want.
Stop doing that.
I'm done. That's why I put the little I don't know guy up there. But I had this one question. You got to think about it, too, because it is sort of like this was like my red flag as much as I wanted him. I'm like, Steve Cohen can spend whatever dollar he wants. They can do whatever they want. They've got a guy, a homegrown guy who hits 45 homers, who could sit behind Soto for the next 5 years and just hit bombs. And they just have messed with him the last 2 years. They don't want him, like, to the point where they let him go. And I'm like, why don't they want him? I got to get to the bottom of this. Like, what am I missing? So you talk to some, well-known people that cover the Mets, and it's like, tell me why. And it's, well, the 3-year thing was real, and they told him he's a DH. They don't want to see him at first anymore. Yeah, he can scoop it, but he's got bad range and balls at him, to be honest with you, that he used to be money on. Not so money anymore. He had a career year. He had 215 year before. You can't take that out of your memory. It's just, there's a lot of stuff. And he's like, you go to Fenway. He'll hit homers, but he'll also hit a lot of wall ball singles because he hits the ball so hard, and he's an awful base runner. So I felt like I was in the middle of an arbitration case against him, right? And in the end, I still looked at that guy and I said, yeah, but I still want him. And he's like, I agree. But there were faults. And that's the thing. I'm like, why don't the Mets want him? They could give him whatever the hell they want. It's Steve Cohen. And they're letting him walk out the door. So I wanted him. Is he the perfect player? No. If you sign Pete, to me, you still have a problem at second, at third, and maybe even at first base, where you really got to get better defensively. I can't do it anymore. There's potential to play better defense with some of these guys, but you got to catch the ball. You got no shot. No shot at that level.
I just think that's where it gets, I just think they're all interconnected now, right? Like what Lou's talking about, even if you sign Alonso, then you still have second, third, you don't have Bregman still. I think that Coley is right about the trade desire, right? I would love Bo Bichette. I would be stunned if they did that, which probably means they're going to do it like in the next hour. It'll come across the wire that they just signed him to an 8-year, $250 million deal, right? But I do think they want to move a lot of different pieces and trade a lot of different pieces and get things back. I think if we nitpick all these free agents forever, you're never going to sign one. There's no such thing as a perfect player. And I do know that in our market, in our ballpark, I don't care about the singles off the wall. I'd like to see those 35 homers at Fenway. And I mean, it's star power. There's a magnetism to him. He's been a super clutch player in big spots. To me, that's where it was always enticing, because this is not Kansas City. We're not talking about like crafting the perfect toolsy player to fit your roster at optimal dollars. And that's always the thing that both Chaim and Craig have said. And I believe both of them when they say it, but it is time to do it. And that is be creative, be the best at developing prospects, and also take out your checkbook and use it, because you can win. Teams prove over and over again you can win with missing on these deals. I find it, this is sort of how I would sort of distill it. I think you can win while missing on some of these, and I think you cannot win the whole thing without swinging on some of them. Nobody does that anymore. They get close. They're surprise teams. They're darlings. Teams with big money star players win, and the Red Sox have every ability to get some more of those.
All right, before we get into the meat and potatoes here, interview with Will Flemming and Lou Merloni, we got to talk about Blue Moon. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado, so it's no wonder why you crave it. Blue Moon's bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer drinking experience, perfect year-round. And for those occasions when you want a lighter option, reach for Blue Moon Light at only 95 calories and 36 grams of carbs per 12-ounce serving. It's refreshingly light and alternative beer brewed with real tangerine peel. If you're looking for great tasting non-alcoholic beer, try Blue Moon non-alcoholic, still made with real Valencia orange peel and coriander, just 80 calories. After I'm done talking to Loomer and Will, I'm going to a little Christmas party. Guess who's showing up with a big old case of Blue Moon? This guy right here. Inspired by the beer you already love and available year-round, a wheat beer from Blue Moon, an exceptional taste, only 95 calories, brightly brewed with real tangerine peel, tastes light and refreshing. Nothing compares to the great taste of a Blue Moon Light. Blue Moon made brighter. Get Blue Moon Light delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared for delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Also, Ridge Wallets. It's the holiday season. We have our Christmas party for all religions and Bon Jovi and atheists and everything like that. That's on Saturday, but the holiday season is right around the corner. Ridge Wallets. This is a high recommendation for me. If you can't figure out what to get someone, highly recommend a Ridge wallet because it is the gift that keeps on giving. You only have to buy this once. You'll never need a wallet for the rest of your life. I assure you of that. Probably already know Ridge for their unique, slim, modern wallets. Well, now Ridge took their game-changing wallet and made it even better. Say hello to Ridge 2.0, the most refined version of the Ridge wallet. Ridge has been perfecting the wallet for 12 years. Everything is better on the Ridge 2.0. It's 10% lighter. Every gram matters in the Ridge wallet 2.0. They found the perfect balance. They made it more modular with improved cash straps, money clips, and the AirTag attachments, improved surface design, with their logos and matching plated cash straps, over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. You can get a wallet that features every NFL, MLB, or college team, perfect for holiday gifting, especially since Ridge is having their biggest sale of the year right now. Plus, all Ridge wallets have a new industry-leading built-for-life warranty, so even if your wallet is lost or stolen, they've got you covered. Does it give you peace of mind knowing that all Ridge wallets have RFID blocking technology, keeping you safe from digital pickpocketers? They've got over 100,000 five-star reviews, proof that Ridge is a gift that people love to receive. Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and their game-changing power banks, all built with the same sleek, durable design. You'll find the perfect gift for every wish list. And for a limited time, Ridge is having their huge Black Friday sale. Head to ridge.com to get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount that they've given all year. That's ridge.com for up to 47% off your order during their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support Section 10 and tell them that we sent you. Back to the interview. So, I mean, you guys obviously have your ear to the ground on a lot of this stuff. How much of this trend of the Red Sox are cheap and this and that, how much of that is John Henry's unwillingness to spend versus Craig is trying to do it his way and he's looking at the age curve of, you know, player performance versus years on this planet, and like the drop off is right around 30. So it's like, all right, you're not going to go out there in free agency and spend big money on guys that are entering their age 31, 32 seasons. Fine, but that's where all the talent is it not? Like, so you're just never going to sign a free agent ever again? Like, what are we doing here? Unless it's a case like Juan Soto, where you have this generational talent who came up to the big leagues when he was 19 and reaches free agency at 25, 26 years old. You still lost out. You weren't really even in the conversation for that sweepstakes. Not that I wanted to be after $700 million. Like, I didn't want to be for that particular player. So like where should fans be looking in terms of like this trend, who to blame, or like at least who's responsible?
I listen, I think ultimately, like, Craig can't spend $320 million, $330 million, right? So there is some form of budget. But if Pete Alonso said yes to their 3 or 4 year deal, whatever the hell it was, if Bregman is right now just says yes to his 3 or 4 year deal, whatever the hell is out there, that's another $55-60 million you're spending. So it's not about the spending. To me, ultimately, I do think that this is a front office that puts value on guys, that kind of maybe looks for markets to not be there for some guys, and play the willingness of, okay, maybe we can get them a little bit cheaper, 1 less year, $5 less million, because they want to play in Boston and they want to be part of what we're doing. And if a guy has a robust market, I just don't know if you're going to be involved in that guy. I mean, look at the guys that they've signed. They've almost waited for markets to kind of collapse a little bit on guys to get in.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, look, that it is, there's so many layers to this, one of which is that we're likely to have a work stoppage next year. And maybe you don't want to be on the hook for these massive contracts without knowing what the rules of the next CBA are going to be. But you do have next season, and you do have a roster that has holes you need to fill. I think that they've proven they have a type, but that type comes onto the market once every 7 years. And that is the guys you just named. It's sort of like mid-20s, got to the big leagues early, and are the superstars of the game. But I think the paradigm shift in the sport, it has been that now you got the Dodgers out there, you got all these other teams that are just as likely to get somebody as loose dogs are. I just think it's not anymore that you can get close to or around a dollar figure and people are going to go, man, I got to go to Fenway Park. I wish it were. That'd be a lot easier. But I think we're learning that that's not the way it is. And so, again, it just comes back to me, after the rebuild, Roman's around, you got these superstar young players kind of in the making. You have the ace. For now, you've got the closer. You got young depth of pitching. But we were all at Yankee Stadium last year. And I mean, the Yankees are an incredibly flawed team, and their lineup was much better than the Red Sox at the end of the season. Much. And you need more hitters, and they're already down Bregman. If you're rolling out the balls tomorrow, where does the power, the production, the homers come from? So that's what these next 2-3 weeks and months are about. Where does the run production come from? If anybody, I swear to God, I think there are 3 or 4 people in the world who know the answer to your question, Jared. And those are John, Craig, and Sam. I mean, Mike Gordon and other people affiliated at the highest level. But anybody who tells you they know exactly where that dynamic breaks down, I think is just kind of making stuff up, because they're good at keeping secrets. That's the one that will stay closest to the vest, I think, forever.
This is where we're probably going to annoy people because of, places that we work, and it will just immediately get accused of just being propaganda. But I have to ask the question, because I believe as a Red Sox fan, no matter who is writing me a check, where I'm employed, I still think that there is a path to an above satisfactory offseason. Then we can go back to Lou's point about, do you trust that to happen? My answer is no. But, when we were talking about the panic and the anger and rage on social media after not signing Pete Alonso, I was upset about it for sure, because I liked the fit and I liked it a lot. But there are moves the Red Sox can still make to have a satisfactory or above satisfactory offseason. I'm curious where you guys are at in terms of what you think those moves are. We don't have to talk about, whether or not we try. I don't think any of us trust that they're just going to fucking nail it from this point forward based on their behavior. But if there were to be a path, what do you see that path being?
It's funny, you're talking about like a guy like Alonso, is 35 to 40 home runs plus whatever it may be. To me, Ketel Marte still helps you win more games than Pete Alonso does. He's going to make contact. He's going to play a position. He's going to play second at a high level. He's going to hit. The last 3 years, he's hitting like 280, 290. Did you guys see the league? Guys hit 257. We talk about a great year. Yep. Watch what 280, 290 looks like for 162 games. That's impressive. The guy's hit 28 to 35 home runs the last 2 or 3 years. That's impressive. That's more of that complete style that I'm talking about that helps you win more games than a DH who strikes out a lot and hits 45 homers, who can't run the bases. And that's, it's not like crapping on a dude you didn't get. And I understand that's how it probably looks, but then that's why I never believed that he was the answer. These guys, would I take them? I take all of them. But I do think you can, Marte, do I trust they're going to make that deal? I have no idea what they're going to do. And that's what intrigues me about Bregman. I know he's older. I know there's injury there. But again, a guy that plays a high level of defense can hit for two hit. I just want guys to hit 20 to 25 home runs. We talk about the 45 home run guy, whatever. You give me a guy that potentially can hit 25 bombs. He can hit 4 in a series in the postseason. All right. And you've got some guys on this team. Add 2 more of them who can play defense and make contact. You could still be a pretty good team. It's far from over now.
I agree with that. And I think, look, it's silly in a way. We all read all the headlines, the names that are out there. We know the big names that are out there. And if you pick 2 of those and put them on the team and then you pull off another trade for maybe a pitcher, maybe something else that none of us are expecting, it's a huge win in the offseason. It just is. You pick any of those names. If you bring back Bregman, somehow you trade for Marte or you sign Bichette, and then I think if you pull off a trade for somebody like Paredes, who I love, and add something that this team needs, patience at the plate, I think you can make an argument the team is better with any combination of those kinds of guys. So I just... we'll wait and see. Again, the words are prove it to me, right? Prove it. If the easy answer, the easy path, the Schwarber, the Alonso is not the answer, then I need to know what the complicated path is, and I need those dominoes to fall.
The weird part too is the free agent bats is what they're looking for. When you think about the arms, right? He has a type. Look at the draft the last few years. It's big dudes, fastball, velocity. Craig loves swing and miss in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Low arm angle. He's got a type. Does anybody have any idea what type he had?
We know what type he doesn't like.
but I don't even know. Really, the only guy that's really been brought in here under Craig Breslow, Tyler O'Neill hit some homers, and then Alex Bregman.
Against his will.
I think, was the last man, almost had to be convinced. So I don't even know what his type is. I know what his type of a pitcher he likes. When you start looking at free agency, he don't like that guy because there's no swing and miss, or he don't like that guy because his fastball doesn't play, all this other stuff. But offensively, maybe we find out. And that's what makes it hard to look at, does he like this type of player, that type of player? We really don't know what he likes offensively. That makes it weird, hard.
It does. On the subject of Bregman, what do we think his market really is?
It's more than a DH.
More than a DH for sure. But in terms of, what teams do you think are calling legitimately making a play on Bregman that he's actually entertaining?
I think the obvious ones are the ones that were in play last year, right? Chicago, are they happy with Shaw's defense? Did they think he added something offensively?
Say yes.
Yes. Okay. Detroit. He turned down 171 for 6 years. They're talking about trading Skubal. I don't know what makes them look better in his eyes.
Mm-mm.
So there's always teams, to me, the market starts going. If you're hoping for the market to come down and him not have one, you're just inviting other teams to join the party.
Yep.
To your point, you mentioned Seattle. Look in your own division. The Yankees really like Brian McMahon that much that they can't just dump his ass. You know what I mean? What's Toronto doing? That's what I mean. It's just
Philly. Do they like Bohm that much?
Philly. So when you sit there and say, okay, if he's not going to get the market's not up there, he's not going to get his 6 years. If he can get down to 5 years, 4 years, what you're doing is introducing everybody. You're introducing everybody, and that should scare you a little bit. But his market is more than a DH, or at least that. And I know he's a year older, but 5/150, it's set. To me, it's set.
Plus, he came to your clubhouse in your ballpark and proved it. Yeah, he was hurt. He lost the games, but he was everything that you wanted him to be. And so I don't understand kind of revisiting this notion of whether or not he's the right fit and whether you want him. That makes very little sense to me. And that's one where if you think the anger this week was bad because Pete Alonso signs with somebody else, can you imagine if we hear tomorrow that Alex Bregman is a Seattle Mariner or a Houston Astro? Not that they're not coming at him again, but pick any team. that would be nuclear mode. So and the manager loves him. The clubhouse loves him. He wants to be in Boston. That seems to me to be one. And who knows? Maybe right now they're sitting down and hammering out a deal, and they know that that's the top priority.
And you also brought him in and to replace Devers, who you traded.
Yep.
And now you're sitting here with neither, right? So like that's that. Trust me, that will be brought up. Right, from other people, no question.
And it should. Like the idea that you pissed off your essentially franchise player, the highest paid player in franchise history, and moved him off his position for Alex Bregman, who you gave these opt-outs to, knowing that he was probably going to exercise them if things went well. And he becomes a free agent, and then you treat him exactly the same that you did the offseason prior, which is like, we like you. We don't love you. And he was patient with you. Like he could have taken the money from Detroit. He could have gone somewhere else for more, but he wanted Boston. So he waited it out just like you waited it out with him. And then here we go. It's round 2. But if I were him, I feel much differently about it this time around than I do the last time, because like Will said, I went there. I was everything you wanted me to be and more. I think he exceeded whatever expectation that they had for him in terms of the impact that he could have on the clubhouse and the younger guys specifically. Like there was a story every other fucking day in spring training about he's doing this for them, he's doing that for them. Roman Anthony's gushing about him. Marcelo Meyer loves him. Like, I mean, what more did you need from the guy? And now you're going to dick him around because you want to get him at a bargain rate again? Just get it done, because at this point, I think fans have been saying from the very beginning, it's always been bring back Alex Bregman and then go do all the other shit that you should be doing. It's like, Bregman is baseline. Now they're going to sell us on, we got Bregman back, everyone. Woo! It's like, no. Now the offseason begins when you bring back Alex Bregman. Last year, it was a huge celebration because you were moving in the right direction. Now we're just trying to get back to where we were last year so we can go past that.
I agree with that 100%. And I also think you have to consider one other thing that I know Lou is in on. I don't have a direct line to Bregman like you do. I don't know if you've talked to him at all. It would not shock me at all if some of the delay is not just years and dollars. It's what else are you going to do? I mean, I came there because I want to win a World Series and be in Boston. I love the ballpark. My family loves it. What other pieces are you going to bring in? Yeah, I love Roman Anthony. He's a great young star. I think Bregman has every right now to sit there and say, I want to be back, but prove it to me that you're going to swim in the deep end of the pool again. So I think that's an interesting element here, whether or not he's got a little reluctance to just immediately say, yeah, let's run that back again.
You know, I was thoroughly convinced. I was about 99% sure all year long that this isn't even going to be an issue. I'm not going to pay attention to any of the drama because I think he's coming back. And the reason why I felt that way is because I feel like he wants to be back.
Yeah.
I didn't really factor in the fact that the clubhouse, the team rather, wasn't really all in. You know, as far as, so to me, I still feel the same way. If Alex Bregman's not back here, it's not because he doesn't want to be here. I don't know if you guys all agree. I think he'd like to finish here after having his career, after watching the way it was in Boston, the young players that he has, the fan base, the excitement. I think he enjoys that atmosphere. It's just that you start worrying that how much stock are they putting into this quad? You know, he's going to be 32. And, you know, I don't know. Do they have some computer metric that says, you know, his range wasn't, well, not when he came back from his quad. You know, as an athlete, it's always the same thing. Do I wait too long and get called soft for waiting to be 100% and while my team is struggling? Or do I come back early, not the same player, then get shredded when I'm a free agent for not being the same player? You know, which do you want? I love the fact that he came back early. He came back 2 or 3 weeks early, to be honest with you. I love that. And that's why I think I want him back. I mean, for many reasons.
I think he wants to be back.
Yeah.
But what I said in the video that I put out after Alonso went to Baltimore, I said, the Red Sox are expecting Alex Bregman to take a hometown discount from a team that is not his hometown. And that's not how that works. So you don't hire Scott Boras as your agent to take a hometown discount. Again, not how that works.
Yep.
On the Ketel Marte stuff, I know we've heard conflicting stuff, and you know, I think a lot of the subject matter always goes back to the general idea of at least under Craig Breslow, questioning where does that information come from? Because they're running a tight ship. And to borrow another Coley take, when he heard about Ketel Marte, he was like, fuck, now it's not happening. Because it's like, if it gets out, it's not from the Red Sox.
Yep.
Like they are running a tight ship. So if it is something that gets out there, you have to wonder, like, what is the source of this information? And yeah, I mean, like Heim used to say this to me too. He's like, when you hear stuff, that's great, but you should always question what the motivating factor is behind it getting out there. Like, always be questioning where it comes from and why it's coming from there.
That's what Orlando was. You just described my entire week where I had to shower 4 times a day to sift through the bullshit.
Yeah.
So what would that be? Would it be, I mean, is it Arizona getting it out there so they can get more from Tampa? I mean, I'm just trying to think about all the wrinkles. Look out, your division rivals in on him too. We need more than Pepio and Boz. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I do think that, like, when guys out there free, like the Red Sox were in on Garrett Crochet. Okay, like we knew that they would be in on him, and they were in on him. The report was out. There was a time when they thought they were out and everything else. So I just think like Marte is a fit. He kind of fits what they're looking for. He's a guy that they know what kind of contract they're bringing on. It's 19 AAV. Yes, he's a little bit older, but he fits, and to be honest with you, he may fit, and the holdup may be because they want Meyer, and if we don't bring back Bregman, we want Meyer at third base, so he can't include a guy like Marcelo Meyer for Marte until you figure out what's going on in third. So they're, everything's sort of tied into one another. But I'm with you. Every time I heard a report, my first question was, why is this out there, and who does it benefit? What are we trying to do? Trying to get more money from one team because we're going to float another team? Are we trying to get more prospects from one team? Let's float another rival. So I think that's the way it is, because you're right. This front office is the tightest circle I think I've seen in any front office that I've covered with this team. Like, there's a small circle of trust, and nothing that gets out there is coming from this club.
I don't even think it's a matter of it's a small circle of trust. It's just a small circle. Like, look at the mass exodus of just human beings that have gone to other organizations. And it's, like, Craig's running a tight ship, but he doesn't have many people on his ship that he's trusting with this information. But
to me, Jared, that's where they, like, just to follow up on your earlier question about who's driving the economics of this thing, John or Craig. That to me is a blend, and we'll never know exactly the pie chart breakdown, right? What I do know is this: Craig is running it all the way, and he is empowered to do that. And he has tightened everything up, and he is making the calls, all of them. And so many people who've been around that had huge voices and felt like they were, part of the big decisions are not anymore. And so again, we can talk about who's driving the type of decision, and that's a harder thing. To me, what is obvious is Craig is making the calls, and think about it. Traded Devers, decided to not sign these dudes. You cannot say he's not bold and doesn't have some stones, because his job is absolutely on the line. Like, there is not going to be any discussion at the highest level of the organization if in 2 years this has not worked out. Like, who was in on this call? Who made this decision? No, this is Breslow's ship. He's running it the way that he wants to. And so again, he's got some big moves to make, and I don't know if you agree, Lou. I think there's enormous pressure on him to get them right, but it's all the way his calls.
Well, they'll get better. It's just a question of whether it's like under the scope of their eyes or ours, right? Yeah. Like, Sonny Gray to me is the perfect example. I think that I can envision some people in that front office seeing the reaction of Sonny Gray, and people like, I thought you were going to get number 2, and them sort of laughing at those people like, we did. What are you people talking about? And going through like everything that he does with the swing and miss and the pound in the zone and some kind of 4 or 5 different metrics that we have never even heard of before that he excels at. So it's, you know what I'm saying? So like, big bat, we told you we can get a big bat. We added so-and-so and so-and-so when this whole thing is done. And us saying like, well, they're not big names. And like, well, they're going to be better than the big names. So I just think they have a different way of thinking and looking at players these days and valuing them. And maybe we'll find out how they value offense and hitters here in the next month or two.
I still, I don't even want to say for whatever reason. I know the reasons why. I still think a big move is coming. I'll tell you some of them. Passan was, candidly telling people at the winter meetings, like, hey, who was it? I think it was like Robbie Hyde, like went up to him and asked him, and he was like, yeah, like Red Sox are going to do something. It's going to be big. Okay. Passan's probably the only reporter that I trust. Then, there's people, let's just say people who have control over whether or not something big happens with the Red Sox that are like, we're talking in a way, even privately, like, yeah, like the goal is to make something big happen. And I don't consider Sonny Gray something big as happening. Johan Oviedo, not someone that I consider a big move.
Your boy.
So the big move hasn't happened yet. And am I an asshole if I am still optimistic that big move is coming, or am I a complete fool? Like what's the deal?
It was funny. I kind of went for a little walk with my dog that won't stop barking earlier, and it's like the shit that I get like all the time about like, when are you going to tell Henry to sell the team and Breslow to get fired? And I miss Angry Lou, and it's like I got to remind people, Angry Lou got fired. Okay,
yeah, it's true.
Fired. Like they said, you were not doing this. We're going in a different direction. Now I'm in a much better place, but. I'm not sports radio. You know what I mean? Like so I can sit there and be emotional about losing this player and that player and then still sit back and have dinner with my family and wait for them to pick up a player and who I'm going to talk about in the spring or see him in spring training. Like, yeah, I get emotional and I want them to be better. But when they missed out on Schwarber and Walker and Alonso, I moved on. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm pissed. Whatever. Like, who's next? How are they going to build this thing? Let's start talking about who can still help. And when you go that direction, it turns into, I liked you better when you were Angry Lou. And it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, dude. He got let go.
That's been a wild part of this thing this week for me with all the stuff that's been thrown at me. I said I thought Red Sox fans would be happy. I still believe that. And people will say I'm an asshole again and I'm carrying water for the team and all these things.
You still got 4 hours.
I do have 4 hours. I should never have put
68.
I shouldn't have put a timestamp to it.
68. You still got 4. I'm just saying.
I learned my lesson. No timestamps in the future. What's interesting to me is I do understand this notion of like, we're all connected to the team. So people, when we say something, they're like, you must have an answer. Something must be happening. And if not, you're lying to you're gaslighting me. Not the case. What I don't understand is the desire in our fan base and on some stations to need to find a villain that is not actively involved in making the decisions. I don't get that. Like,
so let me ask you this, because when you tweeted that out, people in Orlando are like, what's Flemming? No.
Yep.
They're asking me about it. And we had talked, but it wasn't just a hope thing. Like, you had heard some things. The problem is that down there, when I'm in the mix, it's like things change quickly.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So it was, but was that just a hope?
No, no. I mean, that's conversations with people who are close to this thing. And, again, I think the time window, that 72 hours thing was the dumbest part of that. I just shouldn't have said that, because I'm with Jared. I think you believe this too, Lou. I still think they're going to get much better. I do. I think they're interested in making big moves. So they didn't sign Pete Alonso. And I think the market really has not moved that much at all with other players. There's no Kyle Tucker signing. There's no Bo Bichette. Bregman's still out there. The Marte thing, I think, is looming over a lot of these other moves. And I think they're interconnected. Like, everybody assumed that once Schwarber and Alonso signed, bang, everything else happens. I think we're learning that's just not the case. And I don't know who said this the other day, but I completely agree with it. The sport, I think, would be so much better served if we had windows and deadlines to just kind of force action on this stuff so that it happens in a month instead of 4 months. I just think it'd be better for fan interest, for front offices, for deal making. If you just said, here are the dedeadlines, like you just got to get these things done. But yeah, I mean,
and Will, you're right, because some people had said that too. I would, we're losing them.
Yeah, I
would say this real quick. So, because this lasts so long, and I'm down in Orlando and nothing really is going on, because it's like I need, reporters. They got to do a job, right? They got to talk to people. They got to get information, and because it goes so long, months upon months. there's so many stories out there, and people are searching for, and they're talking to agents, and agents are trying to create a market, so all of this, that's where the interest thing comes up. Interest kings, it's, you should call every single guy the first week of free agency, and you say, listen, we may be interested, maybe on a 1 or 2 year deal. Let's get back to us. If your market collapses, and we'll let you know, maybe we've already moved on. All of a sudden, here's the phone call. 3 weeks later, they're interested in this guy. And if there was a window of 2 or 3 weeks, and I don't know how that would even look or what it would work, the agents would probably hate it. There'd be less chatter. There'd be less shit thrown against the wall. It would just get done. NFL free agency is over in about 2 hours. I mean, it's like, that's not enough time for all these people to make their phone calls and kind of not make shit up, but you know what I mean? Look for an angle.
Yeah, I've learned I'm just not going to want to be part. I was not trying to be the story. I'm not a reporter. I don't want to be. I love calling the games, doing the games. I want the team to be better. I've heard from a lot of people that are very credible that they're going to be better. I trust and believe in those people. I said people would be happy, and you would have thought I said they were going to get every big free agent, and Santa Claus is going to come down the chimney with every present they want. I still think they'll get better, and I'll stand by that.
I hope so. Because I mean, I just...
Me too, man.
Man. Oh. 2018 was amazing. 2021 felt storybook. And then we've just been waiting for the Red Sox to get back to the playoffs. They finally get back this year, and it felt like they didn't even get there. It was just like you snapped your fingers and it was over. We're like, wait, what the fuck happened? Not that I thought that they were going to do anything special this year, but just they should have won that Yankee series at the very least. But yeah, it was just kind of it was a one and done, and to have waited through. Yeah, I mean, like losing.
We're
Roman.
talking about when you say like their offense and everything was so much better. I mean, you lost Wilyer Abreu. He wasn't there. He had 3 games. You lost Wilyer, you lost Roman, you lost Marcelo and Giolito. Like Jesus, what were you going to do? This is part of 162 is having the depth to kind of withstand that. And that's where the deadline comes into play. This is where we're talking about being patient. Like, I will be patient. I will see. Last year when they signed Chapman, everybody hated it. He's not a closer anymore. They brought up everything off the field. It was around here. Crochet, the first thing I heard was like, is he really that good? We gave up a lot. Bregman, $40 million's a lot for this guy. Now where's he going to play? So it's like, let's just see, maybe Sonny Gray pitches like a 2. I have no idea. We'll know October 1st. See where this thing goes. And then it's always the trade deadline. Like, was I crazy that it was Dustin May and not Joe Ryan? Not really. But I said, let's see if he can catch fire for 2 months. When the season's over, you look back and say, that was like an epic fail. Like, you had a really good team. You want to give these guys the benefit of the doubt. Matz was pretty good. May wasn't. He was hurt and didn't throw the ball well. So at the end of the year, you can evaluate that trade deadline. And it wasn't very good. I'm not ready to evaluate this offseason yet. Yep. I mean, until we're pitchers and catchers and who the hell's still out there, we'll see.
We will see. All right, we take a break from our interview to talk about Aura. It's Christmas season, holiday season, shopping season, present season. We've got a present for you. We got the present for the moms. Like, my mom already asked for this. She asked for 2 of them, if we're being honest, which is great because I'm going to give her 3 of them. Yeah. Here's the thing about Aura. You upload unlimited photos and videos to this frame. Just download the Aura app, connect to Wi-Fi, preload photos before it ships, keep adding from anywhere, anytime, personalize your gift, add a message before it arrives. You can share photos and videos effortlessly in this digital frame, straight from your phone all year long. The gift box is included. Every frame comes packaged in a premium gift box with no price tag. You can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. If you're a last minute shopper like me, you know the feeling. Shelves are empty and ideas are running low. Aura Frames is the solution. And it's a gift that it's sentimental. I'm a big sentimental gift guy, and Aura's got me covered this year. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off. Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code Section10 at checkout. That's Aura, AURA, frames.com, promo code Section10, that's 10. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and the frames, they sell out fast. I got them early. You better get them while you can. So order yours now to get in time for the holidays. Support the show. Tell them that we sent you. Terms and conditions apply. Again, that is promo code section 10 for $30 off. And last but not least, Game Time. And I've used this twice for the holiday season. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to say what because certain individuals might be watching, but the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay, and I am very happy with the deals that I got on the Game Time app for Christmas. I will say one is a concert and one is a sporting event, and selfishly, the sporting event, the seats are amazing, but that's only because, I'm going. It's kind of like, hey, Merry Christmas, but I'm really, I got 6 seats because you're taking me, right? Right? I think I'm going to the concert too. I don't know. The concert is during a time of the year where I might not be available. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I am going to that game though. The fees are included. You can know your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. They've got zone deals. Save even more when you choose a section. You let Game Time choose the seats for you. Snag new ticket deals before anyone finds out by following your favorite teams in the Game Time app to receive alerts. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code SECTION10 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code SECTION10, SECTION10 for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Back to the interview. I did see that report today that there was an unusual amount of trade discussion happening at the winter meetings, which is kind of a precursor to a lot of the stuff's going to pop off in the coming weeks.
Yep.
How much of that involves the Red Sox, we don't know. I can't promise you anything, but just to circle back, I do believe that there will be a big move at some point. It's just, I don't know. I really thought that Alonso was the guy. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that would be the only big move. Like Bregman can't be the only thing that they do. This fan base will burn the motherfucker to the ground, and I don't want that. I don't. And if it's fucking Isak Paredes, like people are gonna be like, really, like that's the big bad, good player, nice player to have. But if that's the move, it's not gonna be received well. So, but I think.
How about my man Okamoto?
Oh,
you're the only reason why I believe in him. Every time someone we'll be doing the fucking live streams and people will ask me what I think, I'm like, Lou wants him, so I want him. I don't know.
I know Tyler's a big fan. I'll say this, like I said, that question about Pete and why don't the Mets want him? I did go down. And I was like, okay, has anybody seen Okamoto? And the people that I had talked to, they thought it was real. I'm like, because the profile to me is perfect. Above average defender, contact, pull side in years, elite. You get 35 homers. This is kind of what we're talking about, right? And it's just, but do I believe it? Is it real? And some people think it is. Now, that market hasn't really heated up yet. I have no idea. But, and then, of course, it turns into, great, we got another Yoshida. Well, Jesus, let's just see what it looks like. I'll let you know in September what was a good move or not. You know what I mean? Then we'll go from there.
Yeah, the Yoshida camp not too pumped with me right now.
No, Mama's not happy.
No, I've been pissing off Wags since 2015, Lou. This is what I do.
Stay true to you, man.
Is what it is.
Stay true.
Yeah, it's what got me here.
It is.
Can't abandon it now.
I think these GMs all view this stuff the same way, which is part of what takes so long to make these moves. The game has trended towards like a sort of a stereotypical GM, and they're all quote unquote smarter, which they are. They understand the analytics side of things. They're all sort of singing from the same hymnal, which is great. But that's where I think if you just zag a little bit and try to think in a slightly different way and take some different risks, that gets to be really interesting to me. But I think that's why there's so much stagnation. Look, it's not like Braden Montgomery and maybe Kyle Teal and some of these guys over there, Wilkelman, are not going to be really good players for the White Sox. I'm not sure that deal gets done this offseason. I think I'm glad they got that bite at the apple, because I now think these general managers all, from what I've heard anyway, they just want the moon for anybody. And that's to me why, I think the D-backs thing may be real, but I bet you they're asking for more than is being reported. My sense of it would be that everybody thinks it's like Connolly, Early, and Marcelo, right? I bet it could be more than that. I just think these GMs now, especially early in the cycle, when there are other options out there and other teams could still pivot, I think they're asking for the moon. So I think that's why these things are taking time to get unlocked.
Yeah, and the trade market may take a little bit because of that, right? Like, are you really that desperate for this player? You're going to give the moon up if he's in on the free agent? Well, you missed on the free agent. Now maybe you will give up the player. So teams are going to wait on that. I've always said, I go back to when Breslow was first opening press conference. He was just like, you can't be afraid to lose a trade. And you can't be afraid to get uncomfortable. Well, I felt like last year they got uncomfortable twice and it worked.
Yep.
For Crochet. That deal wasn't going to get done. We've heard enough stories about it. And all of a sudden, whether he was talked into it or what, woke up and included the final player. That's getting uncomfortable. Now you look at that deal and say, we fleeced the Chicago White Sox. They did not get enough. Yeah. But yet it was uncomfortable to even give in and get that deal done. Like Bregman late. I think we look at it and say, yeah, that was worth it for 1 year. If nothing else, it was perfect timing for the kids. They learned so much. And he's a good player in the field. I know he got hurt, but time to get uncomfortable. It really is. Sometimes when you build depth, you build it and then you're like, okay, but now he's mine and I don't want to give up on him. It's like, no, to me, it's like, you got to move on. You build depth for a reason. You got to move on. You drafted players. This kid Witherspoon will probably be the Peyton Tolley in August. He'll be up in September. And then next year, same thing in another draft. You build depth for a reason, and that's to improve your big league club. And when the whole smoke settles, hopefully there's some trades to get done.
Is Ketel Marte the only player worth getting uncomfortable for, right now, in terms of who's been floated out there? Because obviously Joe Ryan was the sexy name at the deadline, but it seems like the Minnesota Twins didn't see it that way and also have no interest in trading him now. After all that, they're going to hang on to him. So, what is the get uncomfortable player if it's not Ketel Marte?
Well, I think with Craig, there's no sense in even guessing names. Literally, because he surprises you all the time, right? But
yeah, who the fuck saw Sonny Gray coming?
Right,
not me.
Right, but there are mixed reports on some stuff. But if you told me Corey Seager was going to be on the Boston Red Sox, I would get uncomfortable for that. The MVP type players that are just not falling off of trees. That I would get uncomfortable for guys like that. That kind of a tier. I also think that's one of the reasons why it'd be nice to have the Red Sox be one of the teams to make one of the next few big moves. Because you don't want to be the last team standing, waiting for other people to make these moves, and then you're forced to make the choices on the last few remaining available pieces. I'd like them to set a market and go get the guy that they really want. And like I said, I have some faith that they'll do that. But to me, it's hard to. I don't know what you guys think. I love Kyle Tucker. And again, it's just dollars. What if you could sign Kyle Tucker and then ship somebody like Abreu and a young pitcher for another arm? Wouldn't that be something to move the needle in Boston? I think it would.
So I'm used to talking a fucking Milliken, right? And our audience skews younger and I'm in my mid 30s. So it's refreshing to be able to speak to two gentlemen who can relate to the idea. I'm at a point where I don't even think about Kyle Tucker. It's just the way that the Red Sox have behaved have made me as a fan not even consider Kyle Tucker. If this were 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's there's a monster free agent out there. Why wouldn't the Red Sox be linked to him? Back before, it was if there was a monster free agent and the player didn't even fit the roster, you'd be like, fuck it, make him fit the roster. Like Carl Crawford, did he fit the roster in 2011? No. You already had Jacoby Ellsbury, but they were big name free agent, big money. Let's go. Let's be in the mix and let's get the player. So the whole Kyle Tucker thing, I don't know. I guess my brain chemistry has been rewired by the organization to not even entertain the thought because I know that's not happening.
Yeah, and do you put Bichette in that deal as well, right? This is another guy that I mean, 8 years, right? It's got to be 8 for Bo. Bo's what, 28, 29 years old? Same as Tucker. So you're in that same boat as well. You find yourself searching for these guys in a trade who are under contract, who you may extend, or at least you know what it is. So and that's the one thing with trades is like a month ago, did anybody know could tell Marte would even be available? So that's where I go with that stuff. Like I have no idea in trade what teams could be available. That's old school stuff. That's like after the deadline, like a week later, you found out Theo tried to get A-Rod, or whatever, Ken Griffey Jr. And you're like, excuse me? Like, but those are the kind of swings you want to take and just under the radar. I don't know who's available, but you got to start making some of them.
I'd love to know the numbers on Bichette and Tucker. I would. Because, I mean, oh my God. I mean, because both those guys would be so interesting. I know Bichette. I think Bo would thrive in Boston. Say what you want about the defense. I think the bat would be awesome at Fenway. He's wanted to be there since his dad wore the uniform. His personality to me fits. Every time he comes there, he scares me more than Vladdy does in some ways. That's changing a little bit, but I just think that would be a big, big home run. But we'll see how that fits with the rest of the roster.
Would also be a home run PR-wise, because you would take what you have left on Raffy and give it a Bo.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I would love Bo here.
Oh.
Yeah. Bo famously part of the rocket, paper, scissors tournament in 2020. Be nice to have another guy on the roster that was a part of that.
And we've all been around him enough. I think he's a good personality fit with the group the Red Sox have. He's cool. He's just a level-headed guy who doesn't get bothered by the big spot. I mean, look, the dude, he liked Bregman, probably rushed himself back to get involved in that postseason run. And what did he do? He just got one big hit after another in the way that the Red Sox failed to get big hits last year, using the whole field, putting the ball in play. He's just a pure hitter. And I mean, to me, that's where like you ask like what the wins would be. Like if you have the top of the order, all pains in the ass like that, like if it's, Marte and Bichette probably not going to be at the same time defensively, all that stuff. But I mean, if you're telling me that it's Roman Anthony and then either Marte or Bichette, and then we're talking, Bregman, another on-base pest who's a hard out. And then maybe, I know people don't love the name, but somebody like Paredes, who is going to be another like just thorn in the side, difficult out. And then all of a sudden, Abreu and these guys are down in the 6-7 holes. That's the kind of thing that I would like. We don't know his offensive preferences yet. Those are mine. If you just have a nightmare lineup that relentlessly comes after you in terms of putting the ball in play, making contact, and yes, hitting it out of the ballpark, that would be the thing I would want the most.
The only problem with Bo is that if he comes here, like my 16U team would be wearing their baseball pants mid-thigh.
No question. Above the knee.
Like he does.
Yeah.
It's true.
But he'd be great.
He would be great. You guys have been great. We appreciate any time that we get to talk baseball with you over here. I know the fellas didn't get a chance to be here. T's working. Steve is on some retreat, and Coley's being a family man. So you got stuck with me today, which is great. I wanted you all to myself anyway. So
beautiful.
We'll do it again when they make the big move.
fellas.
I'm just around the corner from the Rhode Island National Guard, so I'm going to go get some dudes to stand in front of my door over the weekend, especially once the time expires.
It's probably a safe bet, but if they were to go sign Bo Bichette in the next 2 hours, I'd just tweet a picture of your dick. Just be like, fuck you. Fuck everybody.
You still got 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is fun. Thanks,
Another hour
man.
and a half.
Yeah, you got 2 hours remaining. All right. Any final thoughts? Anything you guys want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Just wait and see.
I'm just here to make everybody smile.
Yeah. For the love of God, Craig, please save this man. All right. We'll see you later. But no.
Buenas noches, amigos.